This is a crazy thing that we've never done before, and to make a crime into war is to stretch credulity to the point that I think a lot of common sense people don't buy it.
Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky continuing to sound off yesterday against the administration's deadly strikes on boats allegedly carrying drugs in the Caribbean and the Pacific. And as the senator alluded to, there is a revealing new look at how the Pentagon is scrambling to deal with survivors of its deadly campaign to strike alleged drug boats at sea instead of have the Coast Guard board them. According to the New York Times, the Trump administration initially pitched the idea of sending them to prison in El Salvador before ultimately deciding to send any rescued survivors back to their home countries or to a third country. But that raises the question, if the men are narco-terrorists, why wouldn't the American government want them brought to the U.S. to face criminal charges? According to the Times, the policy is meant to ensure survivors did not end up in the U.S. judicial system, where court cases could force the administration to show evidence justifying President Trump's military campaign in the region. The Times report continues, quote, Pentagon officials largely kept State Department counterparts in the dark about strike operations, then scrambled to try and enlist diplomats to help deal with survivors, whom military officials referred to by specific terms that included distressed mariners. That phrase is usually used in a peacetime and a civilian context. And, Willie, you just have to wonder, if you look at this reporting, then what was the intention when 40 to 45 minutes later, after the first strike on September 2nd, the decision was made to, what's the word, murder those two survivors?
The idea is to vaporize the drug boats, show the video on TV, and say those are drug boats. We're fighting the drug runners that are coming into America, despite the fact we know now that those boats, some of them were going to Suriname and then on to Europe, not up to America. The problem is when there are survivors, as you point out, what to do with them. You don't want to bring them into American courts because you'd have to present evidence. You might bump up against the law if you did that. They didn't want to send them to CCOT. They thought that was too extreme. Just get them back to their countries and let them deal with them. Right. They're treating it like a video game. And so, Claire, it raises the question in these briefings, and there was another one yesterday. Chuck Schumer and others came out and said they didn't show us the second video. We're not satisfied with their explanation of what they're doing. We're not satisfied with the explanation of the broader policy. What are the goals in Venezuela? Are we really going in on land, as the president suggested again yesterday during that meandering speech? When will, forget the public even, when will members of the Armed Services Committee get answers about this?
Well, I think there is more activity than I've seen ever before among Republicans on the Armed Services Committee. They are not pounding the podium. They're not speaking out like they should. But this investigation is moving. It's not stalling. And here's the thing. If you have to believe that dealing drugs is an act of war, that's really where they are. Is dealing drugs an act of war? And if it is, then Rand Paul's right. Why aren't we blowing up these boats? Make it more efficient. Why don't we blow them off the coast of Florida? Blow them up off the coast of California. Why are we going all the way down to Venezuela to do it? It's way more expensive. Let's get efficient with this war. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic because this is not what we should do. And they're keeping this story alive, right? They know they're keeping this story alive by hiding the evidence, the legal opinion, the video of the second strike. And it is total BS that this has something to do with protecting sources and methods. They showed the video of blowing up the boats.
I'm very interested in hearing what Roger Wicker has to say.
The fact they're hiding it tells you all you need to know, that they think showing it is more damaging to them than the story staying alive. And it is going to consume them. And I got to tell you, I want to indict Hegseth. I want to indict Trump for this, what they're doing here. But really, the military leaders, the ones he had in the first term, would not have done this. They would. Where's Kane, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff? Why isn't he? The military deserves better than this. They're being put in a terrible position, and the leaders of the military know it. And they are turning tail and bending a knee to a policy they know is not in America's best interest and actually smears the good reputation of the men and women who are serving and giving their lives for our country. It's terrible.